Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji ki Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Please recite along with me from the screen. Narayanam namaskritya naram jaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtapraishva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here in person, or if you couldn't make it with your physical form, you're here hearing the sound vibration, so thank you for giving your time for this most beneficial activity of hearing and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said, Shrinvatam Sokata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyanta Stokya Badrani Vidhunoti Suhrit Satam. That Krishna is our well-wisher, he's our friend, and when he sees that we are regularly coming to the morning Bhagavatam classes, or at least from our home, we're listening, then Krishna is very pleased. And he takes out a broom and a mop inside of the temple of our heart, and he starts to clean. Isn't that amazing? Krishna starts to clean our heart once we regularly hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So all of you who are listening to this Srimad Bhagavatam Katha, myself included, we are all so fortunate to hear from the authority of Shukadev Goswami, who's narrating this amazing pastime. We'll hear today about Dadichi Muni, a great pure devotee and saint. We're on Canto 6, if you'd like to get your mobile devices. We're picking up from chapter 10. I'll just need some help knowing where we are studying this morning. We read up to 8 yesterday. Okay. And for those who don't know me, my name is Brihat Mridanga Das, and I'm a servant of the Krishna House mission, so I'm here helping out with Krishna House Dallas. I'll be here for this month, so thank you for having me here in Dallas. Hare Krishna. Okay, we are starting with text 13 of chapter 10 from Canto 6, up to 32. So, Canto 6, Chapter 10, this is entitled The Battle Between the Demigods and Vritrasura. I used to like watching action movies and superhero movies, but they pale in comparison to the superheroic deeds of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and his pure devotees. So we're witnessing a battle which will include amazing prayers. When you watch Spider-Man or Batman or all these modern day things, it's devoid of any devotional content. It's barely even filled with dharmic content. It's basically just a powerful man gets a beautiful woman and kills another powerful man. That's the whole story. But here we get incredible prayers of pure devotion from an exalted Vaishnava, Vritrasura. So, we have a microphone, so Bhakta Dustin will start us reading. Go ahead.
Thereafter, King Indra very firmly took up the thunderbolt manufactured by Vishwakarma from the bones of Dadichi.
So just quick pause for context. We heard the demigods approach Lord Vishnu in fear of Vritrasura because he was swallowing all of their weapons, and he first chastised them. Why are you approaching me for material things, just for your own physical protection, so you can go enjoy in the heavenly planets? My pure devotees don't ask me for material things. But anyway, the Lord is very kind, and he says, you go and approach my devotee, Dadichi Muni, and you ask him for his bones, which means Dadichi has to die. So Dadichi Muni, at first, kind of jokingly says that, why should I give up my body? It's so dear to me. The body is very dear to everyone. But actually, he wasn't actually serious. He was very happy and willing to follow the Lord's order, the Lord's divine will, that he would leave his body. And in fact, he didn't even notice the pain of leaving his body. He was absorbed in meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. And from his bones, Vishwakarma manufactured this thunderbolt weapon, which has the potency of the Lord and has the ability to kill this great demon, Vritrasura. So, with that context, please continue.
Charged with the exalted power of Dadichi Muni and enlightened by the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Indra rode on the back of his carrier, Airavata, surrounded by all the demigods, while all the great sages offered him praise. Thus he shone very beautifully, pleasing the three worlds as he rode off to kill Vritrasura.
Okay, and let's pass the microphone on.
My dear Parikshit, as Rudra, being very angry at Antaka, Yamaraj had formally run towards Antaka to kill him, Indra angrily and with great force attacked Vritrasura, who was surrounded by the leaders of the demoniac armies.
Okay, thank you. Indra runs towards Vritrasura to attack.
Thereafter, at the end of Satya Yuga and the beginning of Treta Yuga, a fierce battle took place between the demigods and the demons on the bank of the Narmada.
So we get the time period. Go on.
O king, when all the Asuras came onto the battlefield, headed by Vritrasura, they saw King Indra carrying the thunderbolt and surrounded by the Rudras, Vashus, Adityas, Asavini Kumaras, Pitas, Vanis, Maruts, Brubus, Sadyas, and Visvadevas. Surrounded by his company, Indra shone so brightly that his effulgence was intolerable to the demons.
Thank you.
Many hundred and thousands of demons, demi-demons, Yakshas, Rakshasas, many man-eaters and others, headed by Sumali and Mali, resisted the armies of King Indra, which even death personified cannot easily overcome among the demons, where Namuchi, Sambara, Anarva, Dvimudha, Rasabha, Asura, Hayagriva, Sankishra, Viprachitti, Ayomukha, Puloma, Vrishpara, Praheti, Heti, and Utkala, roaring tumult, tumult,
Tumultuously.
tumultuously and fearlessly like lions. These invincible demons, all dressed in golden ornaments, gave pain to the demigods with weapons like clubs, bludgeons, arrows, barbed darts, mallets, and lances.
This reminds me of the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter. We get quite a detailed description of the armies of both sides, and we hear of their weapons in this description, but what do we hear of in the Bhagavad Gita? What are they holding? The conch shells, yeah. So it's a similar description here, setting the stage for this battle which is about to take place.
Armed with lances, tridents, axes, swords, and other weapons like satagnes and pusundis, the demons attacked from different directions and shattered all the ships of the demigods' armies.
As the stars in the sky cannot be seen when covered by dense clouds, the demigods, being completely covered by networks of arrows falling upon them one after another, cannot be seen.
The showers of various weapons and arrows released to kill the soldiers of the demigods did not reach them, because the demigods, acting quickly, cut the weapons into thousands of pieces in the sky.
As their weapons and mantras decreased, the demons began showering mountain peaks, trees, and stones upon the demigod soldiers. But the demigods were so powerful and expert that they nullified all these weapons by breaking them into pieces in the sky as before.
When the soldiers of the demons, commanded by Vritasura, saw the soldiers of King Indra were quite well, having not been injured at all by their volleys of weapons, not even by the trees, stones, and mountain peaks, the demons were very much afraid.
When insignificant persons use rough words to cast false, angry accusations against saintly persons, the fruitless words do not disturb the great personality. Similarly, all the efforts of the demons against the demigods who were favorably situated under the protection of Krishna were futile.
So again, it's reminiscent of Bhagavad Gita that we see described by Sanjaya, the signs of victory for the Pandavas. And it's clear that when you're on the side of Dharma, when you're on the side of God's will, then you will win. If Krishna's on your side, even if the Kaurava army was so much more powerful, still because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas, they were destined to win. And here, King Indra has the thunderbolt weapon given by and empowered by Lord Vishnu, and so they're destined to win this battle. So similar, and again, similar to Bhagavad Gita. Okay, please go on, Mishra Bhagavan Prabhu.
The Asuras, who are never devotees of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, lost their pride in fighting when they found all their endeavors futile, leaving aside their leader even in the very beginning of the fight. They decided to flee because all their prowess had been taken away by the enemy.
So there are codes of Dharma when it comes to battle, warfare, and we can see that the Asuras are not concerned about following those rules, because you don't flee a fight. A Kshatriya, a warrior in the Vedic culture, you either leave the battle by victory or you leave it by leaving your body. You don't turn back. So the Asuras here are showing adharmic behavior. They're showing great shameful activity by running away. And not just running away, but abandoning their leader. So we see this also in modern day warfare, that there's no real consideration of dharma. It's horrible to think about. Chemical weapons and so many innocent people being injured and killed. So it's important that even if a war has to happen, then it should be followed. One should follow the dharmic codes for warfare. And the culture was such that opposing enemies, they would actually meet at the end of the day and be friendly with each other. They would share meals together, even opposite sides of the battlefield. This was the culture that they had. So we have strayed very far from this standard in today's age. And we can see it stems from asuras. This is a demonic behavior to kill innocent people, to harm innocent people, to flee from battle, or to just sit in a little control room and send out a drone and you have no danger to yourself. So another comparison we can see here. Okay, a few more verses. Go ahead, Tammy.
Seeing his army broken and all the Asuras, even those known as great heroes, fleeing the battlefield out of intense fear, Vritrasura, who was truly a great-minded hero, smiled and spoke the following words.
So we'll get a little pep talk from Vritrasura.
According to his position and the time and circumstances, Vritrasura, the hero among the heroes, spoke words that were much too appreciated by thoughtful men. He called the heroes of the demons, O Viprasiddhi, O Namuchi, O Puloma, O Maya, Anarva, and Sambhara. Please hear me and do not flee.
Vritrasura said, all living entities who have taken birth in this material world must die. Surely, no one in this world has found any means to be saved from death. Even Providence has not provided us means to escape it. Under the circumstances, death being inevitable, if one can gain promotion to the higher planetary systems and be always celebrated here by dying a suitable death, what man will not accept such a glorious death?
So who gave the same argument in Bhagavad Gita? Krishna. Right? Krishna basically says this to Arjuna. He says that if you're going to die in the battle, then you'll get elevated to higher planets. This is what happens for Kshatriyas. And it's glorious, actually, for a Kshatriya to die on the battlefield. But to run away is so embarrassing, so shameful. So Krishna tells Arjuna that dishonor is worse than death. Yeah, this is the pride of a Kshatriya. Okay, final verse.
There are two ways to meet a glorious death, and both are very rare. One is to die after performing mystic yoga, especially bhakti yoga, by which one can control the mind and living force and die absorbed in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The second is to die on the battlefield, leading the army and never showing one's back. These two kinds of deaths are recommended in the Shastra as glorious.
And so he's not saying it directly, but Vritrasura, it's obvious that the Asuras are not going to meditate on Krishna and leave the battlefield absorbed in trance because they're demons. So by default, they have to do the second option. It's good logic. If you're not going to leave your body meditating on Krishna, then you might as well die on the battlefield like a real man. So that concludes the encouraging words from Vritra. We'll go back to text 32 and study this purport. Do the Sanskrit, so please repeat after me. Yatasya mritur dhruva eva sarvata pratikriya yasya nacheha klipta loko yashaschata tato yadihyamum Onama mrityum navranita yuktam. Just for sake of time, let's have some others chant now. Anyone who would like you, please go ahead. Jatasya mrityur dhruva eva sarvata pratikriya yasya na cheha klipta loko yashaschatha dato yadihyamum o nama mrityum navranita yuktam Jatasya mrityur dhruva eva sarvata pratikriya yasya na cheha klipta to yadihyamum o nama mrityum navranita yuktam. Okay, one more. All right, we'll move on. Please read from the screen along with me. Jatasya, of one who has taken birth, all living beings. Mrityu, death. Dhruva, inevitable. Eva, indeed. Sarvata, everywhere in the universe. Pratikriya, counteraction. Yasya, of which. Na, not. Cha, also. Iha, in this material world. Klipta, devised. Loka, promotion to higher planets. Yasha, reputation and glory. Cha, and. Atha, then. Tata, from that. Yadi, if. He, indeed. Amum, that. Ka, who. Nama, indeed. Mrityum, death. Na, not. Vranita, would accept. Yuktam, suitable. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Vritrasura said, all living entities who have taken birth in this material world must die. Surely no one in this world has found any means to be saved from death. Even Providence has not provided a means to escape it. Under the circumstances, death being inevitable, if one can gain promotion to the higher planetary systems and be always celebrated here by dying a suitable death, what man will not accept such a glorious death? Purport. If by dying one can be elevated to the higher planetary systems and be ever famous after his death, who is so foolish that he will refuse such a glorious death? Similar advice was also given by Krishna to Arjuna. My dear Arjuna, the Lord said, do not desist from fighting. If you gain victory in the fight, you will enjoy a kingdom, and even if you die, you will be elevated to the heavenly planets. Everyone should be ready to die while performing glorious deeds. A glorious person is not meant to meet death like cats and dogs. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We see here that the Asuras are afraid of meeting death, and they run away very cowardly. And Vritrasura is pointing out death is inevitable. It is coming for all of us, and so why humiliate yourselves by acting in such a cowardly way? Why not stay in the battle, be a real man, be a real warrior, and be glorified. If you win, then you'll be glorified as the ones who defeated the demigods. And if you lose, then you will be elevated to higher planetary systems, and you will be glorified after your death because you courageously fought in battle. And this is a lesson that we can take from the Asuras, or from Vritrasura here, is that what are we really afraid of in life? Where does all of our discomfort, all of our anxiety, all of our fear stem from? Ultimately, it stems from the fact that we want to live forever, and yet we cannot in this body. as a spirit soul, we are out of our natural element being in this material world. Just like a fish out of water. A fish can't be happy out of the water because it needs this element to survive. So in a similar way, in this material world, we are not in our proper element, and we are always disturbed because we might not think about it often, but we know that we will have to leave this body. It's like you're living in an apartment and you know you will be evicted in 1 year, and you're not preparing for where you will live next. It's just like that. Most people in this world, they're so absorbed in this life, and they don't consider what's happening, what will happen in the next life. Therefore, they meet death like cats and dogs, Srila Prabhupada says very strongly. What is it to meet death like cats and dogs? Cats and dogs, they're fully absorbed in sense gratification, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and when they leave their body, they will simply be elevated to the next body up in the evolutionary chain. In a similar way, if we don't consider what the next life is and seriously take to self-realization, then we don't know what our next destination will be, or we will just be forced by the laws of nature into the next situation. Some people say that they want to be reborn as a bird or as a monkey. They think it would be fun to fly in the sky. But, you know, a vulture may fly very high in the sky and has amazing sight, but what does it use that sight for? It's looking for corpses, right? Or a dog has an amazing potency of smell. What does it use that potency to smell? Yes, Prabhu? Okay, yes, they use it in a good way to find explosives or drugs, right? So we have this dream that being in an animal body, some people have this dream, it would be so nice. But actually all they're doing is still eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The dog is helping with this policeman to find a bomb or sniff out drugs because he's going to get a little food at the end of the day. And Srila Prabhupada also gives this analogy of the donkey, that a donkey carries a huge burden on its back and it's walking so far because it's thinking, at the end of the day I'll get a little bit of grass. And the donkey doesn't realize the grass is everywhere. He doesn't have to serve this master just to get a little bit of food at the end of the day. So Srila Prabhupada is calling on us to be a human being, to be at a higher level of consciousness, and not to live and die like animals, like cats and dogs. To face fearful situations with courage is something that devotees have to do as well. Srila Prabhupada, he, in a similar mood here, in a kind of warrior spirit, he said, I want to die on the battlefield preaching. Srila Prabhupada was unafraid and would never retire. Although he sometimes spoke of it, that I just want to go and write books and you all manage everything. So out of necessity and out of his, he actually liked a good fight. Like in Juhu, Srila Prabhupada, he got some pleasure out of overcoming this very malicious person. And at the end, once this Asuric man had left the world, Srila Prabhupada said, yes, it was a good fight. And he enjoyed that pastime of creating the Juhu temple, the Radha Rasa Bihari temple. And we see that Srila Prabhupada left his body on the battlefield still. He was instructing his disciples, he was replying to letters, and he was dictating Srimad Bhagavatam. He didn't stop. You can watch on YouTube, there's a video of Srila Prabhupada with a devotee holding the dictaphone to his mouth, and he's translating the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In a cat and dog type of leaving one's body, we see that people are in great pain and they're in great anxiety about their family and about their properties and money and all of these material anxieties. But someone who's elevated in consciousness, they are focused on Krishna. And especially in the warrior spirit of Srila Prabhupada, they are not only focused on their own spiritual advancement, but they are concerned to help uplift all of humanity. Srila Prabhupada knew that by translating and distributing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that this would create a revolution in this world, and we're seeing it take place. That by studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we're having a revolution in our own heart. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam itself says this in the first canto, that it creates a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. This is how Srila Vyasadeva describes the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada knew this, and he fearlessly and compassionately continued on translating Srimad Bhagavatam for the well-being of all. So like this, we can take a lesson from Vritrasura here. We can take a lesson from the example of Srila Prabhupada and courageously go and confront our own demons within, become purified ourselves, and out of compassion, go and help others by sharing this Krishna consciousness movement, by sharing the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. We all have a unique way of sharing Krishna consciousness with others. Krishna Prabhu has been sharing with us his way of, through smaranam, through this process of meditation, sharing Krishna consciousness with people who are interested in meditation and yoga, which is a much growing crowd these days. So this is a unique contribution to the Sankirtan mission. We all have some unique way that we can share. Mishra Bhagavan Prabhu goes out person to person distributing books all around Dallas, fearlessly approaching anyone and everyone. We were out the other day, so I've seen firsthand Mishra Bhagavan Prabhu's fearlessness. So what is our unique contribution to the Sankirtan mission? We need to be courageous, like Vritrasura is encouraging us here. We need to go a bit into an uncomfortable situation. It's always a little bit uncomfortable to share Krishna consciousness, because we set an example when we are teaching Krishna consciousness, and we have to not be hypocritical, so we have to actually practice what we're teaching. If we're sitting in a position of sharing Krishna consciousness, then we need to be a proper representative of Srila Prabhupada. So we need to understand the wisdom, we need to live the wisdom in order to share the wisdom with others. So it's an act that requires courage. And people will provide resistance. They may share their doubts, they may lash out at us, they may, in an organized way, try to stop our efforts. Like there's, even today, still media coming out about Krishna consciousness movement. This one recently came out on Amazon about New Vrindavan and some troubles that happened there in the past. So there's organized efforts to hamper the Krishna consciousness movement, to hamper this Sankirtan movement spreading around the world. And so there's a need to stand up and fight. Krishna is calling us to fight. Vritrasura is calling us to fight. Srila Prabhupada is calling us to stand up and fight. And we can feel great happiness in this. Because, sure, to practice Krishna consciousness ourselves, there's satisfaction. But this Krishna consciousness movement is meant for the upliftment of the entire world. So even if in a small way we can contribute to that mission, then we'll really experience the joy of of what Lord Chaitanya wants us to experience. Because by giving, we grow. By giving, we receive. And this is the mood of the most exalted devotees, the gopis. Their mood is, I don't want to enjoy with Krishna personally, I want you to enjoy with Krishna. Let me bring you to Krishna. So like that, the Sankirtan mission is a movement of selflessness, that I want to help others become happy by coming in touch with Radha Kalachandji here. And paradoxically, when we don't think so much about our own spiritual advancement, when we don't think so much about our own happiness, and we just try to give it to others, then we automatically grow. We automatically feel so much bliss. Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritaswadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. It's an ocean of nectar which we experience at every step of the journey. It's bathing all souls in the world with this Harinam, this Sankirtan. And therefore, param vijayate, it's supremely victorious. Last thing I'll share here, and I'd love to hear reflections from the audience. Just like the Pandavas were destined to be victorious in the battle of Kurukshetra, just as the demigods are destined to be victorious in this battle against Vritrasura, in that way, the Sankirtan movement will spread all over the world. The Sankirtan movement will take victory, will be victorious. Param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Lord Chaitanya said that my holy name will be chanted in every town and village of the world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead wills it, and it will happen. It's just a matter of time. So do we want to be part of this blissful process of sharing this Sankirtan movement all over the world? Do we want to be an instrument of Lord Chaitanya and feel that ecstasy? That's for us to decide. And if you don't yet contribute to the Sankirtan mission, then consider just in a very small way getting involved. Try with prasadam distribution. Try with assisting those who are going out and distribute books. Just go with them. This is how you can learn very easily, is just walk with someone who's distributing books and observe. Or at least just desire to be part of the Sankirtan mission. Simply by this desire, Lord Chaitanya will be pleased and will help to arrange a situation where we can participate. So thank you all for allowing this opportunity. If there's any reflections, questions, corrections, then this is your time. There's a microphone back here. Please. Yes, Mr. Bhagavan Prabhu. Microphone is coming to you. Sometimes Prabhupada would quote Aesop's fables. Yes.
Yeah. The fox and the grapes. You know, the fox was trying to get the grapes, but he couldn't reach them. He jumped and jumped and jumped, and then finally gave up and said, "Oh, they must have been sour anyway." So Prabhupada calls this sour grapes philosophy. So you were mentioning that, you know, the devotional service, becoming a pure devotee is the goal in life, and he's kind of minimized the acquiring property, having a lot of money, big bank balance, nice cars. All those things are really what most people are thinking that's the goal in life. You know, that's success. Like right now, there's not that many people in Bhagavatam class, because if you want success, you have to be logged in at 8 o'clock. So, is there a tendency to have like kind of a sour grapes philosophy or attitude towards who are successful in the material world, that and think that, we're successful, but are people who don't have success, are we just losers? To go through life and not acquire property, have kids and have the kids go to the best universities so that they can also become wealthy and be successful in life. So how can we ascertain if we're really happy by not having any material success, or if it's just sort of that's just sour anyway. Nobody's happy. No, rich people aren't happy.
So you're saying that if someone is spending a lot of their time practicing devotional service, then they are missing out on the opportunity for material development, for getting wealth and growing their family and so on. And so someone in that situation might just say, oh, material life is just not so worthwhile anyway, and we may be missing out on something. That's kind of your question, which of course you know the answer to, or you can share so much on. There's a verse Narada Muni says in the first canto of Bhagavatam that if one fully engages in material activity, they actually gain nothing, because at the end it's all taken away from us. But if someone fully goes into devotional service and at some point, due to their immaturity, they fall away, they actually lose nothing. It's only gain. So from that perspective, all of us, Narada Muni is pushing, really go serious into bhakti and make that your main focus. And don't worry so much about your material situation. It takes a lot of faith to do that. And therefore, we have to develop that type of faith. We are all at different levels of surrender to Krishna, and we may fully understand that Krishna will take care of us in every way if we just serve him, and therefore we don't do anything else but serve Krishna. Or we may be on the side of still kind of testing the water and, okay, I'm going to spend the bulk of my time taking care of myself, and a few hours a week or maybe a few minutes a day I'll look at the deity, or in a small way I'll connect to Krishna, but I'm not really investing much in my relationship. So Narada Muni gives the standard, or he gives a clear black and white of you gain nothing in full material life and you lose nothing in full devotional life. So my point is we should develop our faith more and more so that we can fully give our time and energy to serving Krishna. And how can we build that faith? We can build that faith by hearing and chanting. Shravanam Kirtanam. This is the main way that we develop our faith. We purify our heart by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So even if you can't attend in the morning, then you hear while you're driving to work. Or even if you can't do that, then later in the day, maybe during your lunch break, maybe in the evening time, you hear some Srimad Bhagavatam. And every day we chant Hare Krishna, we chant japa, and if we're chanting a little bit, or if we're chanting nothing, start a little bit. If you're chanting a little bit, chant more, work up to 16 rounds and more. And in this way, by regularly hearing and chanting, in the association of sincere devotees, we will develop our faith, so that one day we can just do nothing else but serve Krishna 24/7. Thank you, Mr. Bhagavan Prabhu. Other reflections? Other questions? Something you heard that stood out from Srila Prabhupada's words, from Vritrasura's instructions? Prabhu, yes? Please pass the mic, please, on the microphone, because there's an audience online.
First of all, Prabhu, Sorry, I joined a little late, so I didn't.
Better
pay
late
full
than
at-
never.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But so I was trying to understand this shloka. One of the things it mentions is, fighting for dharma and spreading Krishna consciousness. So in terms of when we say fighting, a lot of people take it in a wrong way, right? Sometimes they think they go to extremes about fighting, and that's the whole reason why religious chaos is spreading across the world. So how do we differentiate between what is right and what is wrong when it comes to fighting for dharma or standing up or spreading Krishna consciousness, and what is that way to do it? What's the right way?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. We see in the world today that there's extremists in different traditions, and they can cause violence, and it can cause wars. Millions of people can die unnecessarily because of religious extremism. And so, how do we differentiate between necessary fighting, violence, and unnecessary violence? That's why there are dharmic codes. We were discussing the other day, in the beginning of the Gita, Srila Prabhupada points out that there's 5 different people who can be killed according to I think it's the Manu Samhita, the codes of dharma given by Manu. So one who is attacking you with weapons, one who steals your property or your wife, or tries to poison you. So there are descriptions of those people who should be killed, who can be killed. We see an example also in the Gita that the Pandavas didn't want this great battle to happen, and they tried many ways to avoid it. So violence shouldn't be the first option. This is also described in the Vedic teachings, that in politics, ideally you try to cooperate first with someone, and if you can't do that, then you try to instruct with words, like we see Krishna himself went to try to speak to Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra to convince them. And if none of that works, then you take up arms and you go to fight. So therefore, society needs to understand the teachings of the Shastra. We can't just make up whimsically ideas of what is right and wrong, and have a godless, baseless law type of society. So therefore, book distribution, studying these books is so essential for the well-being of humanity. So those are a few reflections. Prabhu, thank you.
Thank you.
Tammy, any? Okay. Well, thank you all very much for your attention this morning. I'm praying that we can all take up this warrior spirit of Vritrasura, of Srila Prabhupada, and we can courageously go and share this Krishna consciousness movement with others, even in a small way, just to experience the unmatched joy of selfless service. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Panchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
करो पूजितम् श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरौ तन्न कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव मारव अंतरक वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्री विचारणै सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरण करो विचारणैकनुगुणा तद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणां त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं विचारणैकनुगुणा तद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणां त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरौ लोकानां हितकारिणां त्रिभुवने मन्नं